you're bringing up TikTok a lot, and when I think about B2B engagement, audience engagement, I immediately go, well, most B2B people um, that I think about reaching, they've got to be on LinkedIn, right? But you're saying TikTok. Isn't TikTok consumer based? Right? Is my audience going to be on TikTok? And I know you mentioned LinkedIn or TikTok, whatever, but how do you know what the right platform might be when we're creating this content? So let's assume we do have we have something to share. It's a unique, interesting point, and we have a couple hows. Let's follow your framework. How do I choose where I create that content? Do you have any idea of where people might how to think about where to start, or does it matter? What are your opinions on that?
So it depends on where your audience lives, right? When I
Hmm.
was selling logistics software, those people are not on LinkedIn. And if
That's right.
I would say, what was the joke? We always said like 9 times out of 10, if your prospect has a LinkedIn page, 9 times out of 10, they don't have a picture and have less than 50 followers. Like if you had a prospect that had a LinkedIn page with a picture and more than 100 followers, you were like, man, this person's business savvy, you know? Um, so they didn't live there. So it wasn't
Yeah.
super relevant. Now, where it was relevant was channel partnerships, gauging interest from other
Hmm.
companies that could build on top of our API, other people that could be partners and send us referrals. So our biz dev manager, shout out Brandon Burns, did an incredible job of, working through those channels to talk to other software companies that could plug in on top of us, and other consultants that were active on LinkedIn that worked in the industry and things of that nature. Um, for me, it's crazy, but TikTok to me is evergreen. And that's for one of two reasons. Number one, people forget that millennials are age 25 to 41. Okay. Millennials are not 19 to 30. They're not 25 to 35. They're 25 to 41. I'm not
Yeah.
ageist here, but if you're 40, I'm going to assume if you're probably in some decision making capacity, right? And millennials are on TikTok. And you're seeing more and more people jump on TikTok at an older age, right? It's not the high school dancing app anymore. It's really taken hold. And so in addition to that, year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, that person who was 25 doing stupid dances on TikTok when they were an SDR is now an SDR manager because at the age of 28, and they're still interacting on TikTok. So not only are you planting the seed and curating your future buying, I would say buying base, right, or your funnel, but you're also reaching the
Yep.
people that you can get to now because more and more people are just using TikTok. The second thing is if you are into TikTok and you've been reading the news lately, TikTok's search engine optimization capabilities are about to blow Google out of the water. So like you can
Interesting.
go on TikTok and search TikTok SEO, and there's like videos where people are like best restaurant to eat in Vegas. They type that in the search bar, and then there's all these awesome videos that are showcasing Vegas restaurants. Or even like now it's like, best framework for a discovery call. You can look that up and you'll find stuff from salespeople, that some that are, gurus, some people that are actually good at their job. So you have to decipher that, right? Take it all with a grain of salt, eat the fish, spit out the bones. But that's with anything, right? It's like a Yelp review. Somebody can hate a place and give them a bad Yelp review for a Vegas restaurant. Somebody could love it, even if it's not that good, and give them a great review. So you have to take everything
Yep.
with a grain of salt. But that's just like Google. But the way that they're interacting and showcasing their search engine results as opposed to Google, people think that they're actually onto something. And if you've also read more about TikTok, you understand that it's a Chinese platform, and the Chinese version is completely different than the US version, and it has e-commerce capabilities built into it, completely
Yeah.
different engagement tools. Like, I mean, if I was Shopify, I'd be a little scared because I think TikTok for the individual, B2C e-commerce, entrepreneur, it's gonna blow things out of the water, which is gonna be crazy. To your point about consumers, though, it's just human nature that you as a buyer in a B2B sale are still going to have some of your precognitive buying patterns when you buy. The same way that you go and buy a car, even as a really awesome salesperson, a great cold caller, the same things that you're going to buy in a B2B sale, you're going to do when you buy a car. So it's the same thing for TikTok, right? The same way that I'm going to consume, absorb content, take call to actions as an individual, I'm going to do it as a B2B buyer as well. I think it's really only us as salespeople where we get in this cloud of like, And I say this because I've worked in an industry where I'm selling to salespeople and revenue go to market leaders, whatever you want to call it, all day long. And I understand there's these frameworks and these emails and these ways that we want to be sold to and buy. But we get so closed off in that tech world, tech sales, that we forget that there's these billion other people that are decision
Right.
makers in different industries that will look at a 5-page email and not be scared away of it because it's like we don't know any better. I'm not saying write really lengthy emails, but we get so caught up in like the perfect cold email. It's like, dude, it depends though. Like if I'm targeting VP of sales, yeah, maybe I want to make sure like I'm top notch and I'm leveraging some resources. But at the end of the day, dude, people still use their consumer buying habits when they're buying B2B.
100%. I think that especially those who sell to sales and sales and marketing, which is a good chunk of the folks that are on LinkedIn, probably a good chunk of the people that are tuning in here, Revenue Champions podcast. You know, you probably are aware of all the best practices that the tech sales and the sales services businesses on LinkedIn will tell you what to do. But there's a whole nother world out there, and at the end of the day, some of the things you're sharing right now are so vital because people don't buy the way we want them to buy. They buy on their own. They have their own process, which is something you talk about often is the buyer centric, being more buyer centric, right? You just had a post recently around um, uh, lowering the barrier of entry for your services or your products. The gated content movement, etc.